So yesterday we saw the piece where first LeMoishe was saying about the Rechmas Drifka Rebbe, Nachum Rechmas Drifka, saying that the yesteryear advances as we know. We see that technology moves at a faster and faster pace as time goes on. The yesteryear too works in a faster and faster way, because why waste energy unnecessarily? And so the best way the yesteryear does it is that he gets two leaders, two distinguished members of the community to have a machlokas, and then basically the city will fraction into groups and there'll be machlokas, and he just has to sit back. So now he talks about sometimes, unfortunately, differences in opinion when it comes to halacha. It doesn't have to become machlokas, but sometimes it does. He says like this: if we look, what is the best way for us to act? The best path to follow. When there are differences of opinion. So we learn from the poskim how to behave. They disagreed halacha, but they respected each other immensely. Difference of opinion doesn't mean different creature. It just means that I have an opinion, he has an opinion, I'm going to respect him for his opinion. Hopefully he respects me for my opinion, and that's that, and you move on. And if somebody else doesn't respect you for your opinion, so not important, doesn't matter. It doesn't affect the validity of the opinion. In the argue in Shulchan Aruch about certain halachas on tefillin. Sometimes the Taz says it's kosher, the Magen Avraham says it's possible, and vice versa. Do you think for 1 second that those that learned by the Taz hated those that learned by Magen Avraham, or the opposite? According to what the Talmidim of the Magen Avraham understood and learnt from thereof, the Talmidim of the Taz, at least the Taz himself, was causing by allowing something which they considered to be possible. He was technically machshel people to wear possible tefillin. Even though technically it follows on that according to the opinion of the Magen Avraham, for example, he says something is possible, and the Taz says that it's kosher, that means that according to the Magen Avraham, people that put on tefillin, which is kosher according to the Taz, are not putting on tefillin their entire life. And vice versa. But they didn't hate each other for it. Even when it comes to things as serious as Shmir Shabbos, and somebody who's Mechal Shabbos is if it's amazed, he gets skila, which is a horrible way to die. And there are different machlokes between all the generations, what's considered Chil Shabbos and whatnot, Daraisa, Darabon, etc. Again, Tazam also argue in these places, do they ever go out and say, whoever does like the other party, is wrong and deserves to die, and etc., or the other way around? Never happened. So according to the Talmidei Magen Avraham, technically, those that follow the opinion of the Taz, instead of the Magen Avraham, in cases, for example, when it comes to Shmir Shabbos, they are Machal Shabbos, and somebody who's Machal Shabbos is considered that he's not as if he's not part of Klal Yisrael, and the wine is the Yain Nesach, and etc., all the dinim that follow from there. Likewise, the Taz and the Shach also argue when we don't find that one burnt the other's writings. So he actually refers to the descendants of the Taz, not burning basically not considering a difference of opinion with the Shach, not holding something different, they didn't consider that was enough to start going to burn the papers of the Taz. Each one was entitled to their own opinion. Also, when it comes to Yishvim Shchita, when it has Ashach, when it's in the poskim, supposed to Shem Yehudi Bezeh, supposed to Ketzad Zeh Oy Acher, LeMoishe Shehu Erechem Shchita Psula Mimele Tzrichim Lesoinai. It never happened, and they said, oh well, if you follow this opinion, then that's terrible, and I'm sorry, but we can't be friends. Even though when we say you're entitled to your opinion, usually it doesn't have real applicable effects on a day to day. But when it comes to the poskim and halacha, they do have real effects, and therefore if you hold like one shitta who says it's kosher, and somebody else will say that hold like somebody else says it's not kosher, then that is a real difference. Whether they can eat in each other's houses, etc., etc. Usually today is accepted. There's a set of halachas that has been accepted as the way to follow, and so it's much easier today. But once upon a time, it was much more complicated. It was much more difficult. So many different opinions. The Beis Yosef and the Rema argue in certain halachic treifos. That's why we know that the Sfaradim and Ashkenazim have different halachas that they follow as well. An animal which has something called a sercha, I don't know halachic shchita treifos, apparently who's got a sercha hitreifa, it's considered a certain blemish and wound which renders the animal treifa. Treifa is an animal which won't survive beyond a certain foreseeable future, and therefore an animal that, even though shchita is done, it's not considered to be an animal that you should eat for many reasons, but mainly because the Torah says you shouldn't eat a treifa. And even if you and they say that basically this is just like categorically not allowed. But the Ashkenazim, for example, by I think maybe some kind of investigation or certain check that you do to see really how bad it is, they might say that might be okay. And actually the Beis Yosef himself used the following words in Shulchan Aruch. He said, whoever acts like this, basically to do miyach for the sircha, basically not to consider this categorically prohibited. He says it's like giving a treif, giving treifas to yid, which you're not allowed to. It's like you're just not allowed to eat. It's treif. Treif. The word treif comes from treifas. Treifas is really an animal which won't survive beyond a certain lifespan. The Rema says, and he says that some allow it, and even though it's a kula, so therefore it's going beyond what perhaps somebody should do, but because everyone does that, then it's okay and you can leave it. And Beis Yosef is obviously categorically against this. And the accepted minhag, accepted custom is to accept this halacha, accept this kula, and to use it. Has there ever been a case where the leading authorities of the Sephardi world have gone out against the rabbis or the Ashkenazim for allowing this? So according to Moran Beis Yosef, they're eating treifas. He has the words of Mimele Tzichem Lisna, so you have to hate them. But Moran Beis Yosef never said you have to hate them. He's just saying whoever's noig like this is as if he's giving treifas to Yisrael. But I think you get the picture what he's trying to paint. We see that there's always been differences of opinions. As long as there have been Jews, there's been more than one opinion. All these different topics like Pesach, Shabbos, Shchita, and Treifas, they didn't say, we can't eat from this person isn't a good person, we can't be associated. The difference of opinion, the different way of life, the different way that they behaved was not a reason to hate each other. It's amazing. Shayish no machlekes b'dvarim shebetzina hashayachim l'cholach b'beis. Like going ich lachshav ha'im kashritas agrayim kashritas arma. So each one has apparently, argues on certain things which are private. For example, so the person does it in his house. For example, wouldn't he consider shkia if like the oinim, if like Rabbeinu Tam. If according to one opinion you're doing a melacha on at the earlier time, and the other person hasn't considered that's not, for example, Shabbos yet, then the one that's considered Shabbos is chayav skira. The one that doesn't consider Shabbos, you're not chayav skira. And also when it comes to Motzei Shabbos, when Shabbos is out, יש בזה נפקמינים ממוצאי בארץ ומוצאי שבוס, ושנחל שבוס, וכן להלכס נידה, שייך מסורי קריסוס. There's many things which the ramifications of holding one or another is a question of קריסוס או חייב מיסה. מחלקת בעניינים אלו, מבינים כולם שכל אחד נהיג לפי החוג והקהל שלהם. We see that each person acts according to what's accepted in their community. ולא שמענו מאוים בעניין זה מחלקת וסינא שיעשה חוג אחד שבשמיים, נגד חוג עדה הקהילה אחרת, ואימה כיוון שיש להלכס כפי שתעשה גרעינים, נמצא שהחוג כשמתך, כשמזלאי, כפי שצריך בין זעם. בכלל שבוסיס, ולכם בכפורים, ואין השם וטהר המשפחה, מצווה לסייני, כן לך השם והנאי, הגים כרבין תם, על הנאגם כגרעינים. So basically what he's saying here is, we don't find it that, for example, the implication here would be, they say, oh, you're acting a different way, and therefore, according to me, you are not keeping the mitzvahs like you're supposed to. No, you keep the mitzvahs, so you believe that you need to keep the mitzvahs in terms of who you are relying on. Obviously, they need to be able to rely on the poskim, and the other person keeps to their relying. They understand that just because I find that to hold like a certain shit, it doesn't mean somebody else needs to do the same. He's still considered the Yid, and you have to respect him. Just because he doesn't do it like you doesn't mean you have to hate him. If this is by things that are private, why things that are more public is this person supposed to act like you? If it's more private, then what do you care? Where does it say that they all need to be uniform, all need to act exactly the same? According to the person that you've picked, הכל כמוהו ונוהג וזה בשווה מהחוג שלו, או הקהילה שלו, או החסיד שלו, או המנהג שלו, או אם אינו מאמין שהמנהג שלו, או הרב שלו, או האדמה שלו, או השריבה שלו. Basically, going through a whole list of things where somebody else might differ to your opinion and to what you think. אז הוא מופרך לגמרי בעיניו. וממילא כבר מוצר לבזייס ולסונוי. אז נהג וזו, so a person thinks that maybe because of this is allowed to hate him. On this kind of behavior, עדיין תקום בגולוס אמר. וזה אני כוסן סכנם. This is called סכנם סכנם. סכנם סכנם, basically in a nutshell, means to hate somebody else because they're different than you. That is סכנם סכנם. That's hating them for no reason, because that isn't a reason. Because they are different than you, everyone is supposed to be different. That is the point. That is the point. It would, besides the fact that it would be a very boring world if everyone was the same. The point is that we are here to grow. And how can we grow if everyone's the same like us? Everybody thinks like us, everyone. And that's why it's a naschina. And it's we should have the clarity of mind to be able to see this on a constant basis.